You don't feel lost. You feel stuck between too many right choices, and if you stay here too long, it slowly takes away your ability to choose anything at all. It's like your life is standing in a hallway with 100 open doors. Every door leads somewhere. Every door feels like it could be you. And the hardest part isn't that you don't know what to do. It's that too many things feel right at the same time. You're not lacking ambition. You're not lacking intelligence. There's something else going on, and once you see it, you won't look at your situation the same way again. There's a very specific kind of exhaustion that comes from having too many possible futures. You wake up thinking you could do this, or that, or something else. One day you see yourself as a designer, the next day a writer, then maybe a therapist, then an entrepreneur. Each version feels real. Each version feels meaningful. And because every path feels true, choosing one starts to feel like you're killing off the others. So you hesitate, you research, you plan, you imagine, but you don't move. And over time, something dangerous starts forming in the background, a quiet thought you don't say out loud. Maybe something is wrong with me. Psychologists actually have a name for this state. It's called identity diffusion. It means your mind hasn't settled into one stable story of who you are. And without that stable identity, your brain struggles to commit to a direction, not because you're weak, but because your internal map keeps shifting every time you try to follow it. Here's the part most people never hear. The people who struggle the most to choose a path are often the ones with the richest inner worlds. Your brain doesn't just see one future, it sees many. And that's where it turns on you. You don't feel stuck because you're empty. You feel stuck because you're full, overloaded even, full of interests, full of ideas, full of possible versions of yourself. You're not broken, but if you don't learn how to work with this, it will keep you in place longer than you think. You're cognitively different in a world that rewards narrow focus. Let's look at what your brain is actually doing. Inside your mind, there's a system called the default mode network. This is the part of the brain that imagines the future, replays the past, and builds your sense of self. For people like you, it tends to be unusually active. It keeps running simulations in the background. What if I did this? What if I became that? What if this is what I'm really meant to do? Every imagined future creates a small emotional signal, excitement, meaning, curiosity, and your brain treats those signals as if they're pointing to something real. So instead of one clear direction, you feel pulled in dozens of directions at once. It's like standing in front of a radio that's picking up every station at the same time. Nothing is broken, it's just extremely sensitive. But here's where it starts to mislead you. Your brain confuses curiosity with destiny, and that confusion keeps you stuck. Neuroscience shows that dopamine responds to novelty, not long-term fit. So every new idea feels important. Every new path feels like it could be the one. But that feeling doesn't mean it's meant to become your life. Curiosity is a signal, not a contract. And if you treat every signal like a life decision, you'll keep resetting before anything has time to grow. That's why you need something your brain is currently missing: stability. Instead of asking who you are forever, ask a smaller, more useful question. Who am I for the next 6 months? That question gives your nervous system something solid to stand on. Psychologists call this identity scaffolding. You build one version of yourself long enough to feel grounded. Then you adjust, not because you failed, but because you learned something real. You don't have to throw away your other interests. That's another mistake people make. Your mind isn't built in separate boxes. It works like a system. The goal isn't to eliminate parts of yourself, it's to connect them. Look for paths where more than one part of you can exist at the same time. A designer who understands psychology, a business owner who loves storytelling, a programmer who also cares about art. Your brain doesn't want to choose one thing. It wants to integrate many things into something that feels like you. And there's one more thing that quietly keeps you stuck. Your brain avoids decisions when the cost feels too high. And right now, you're treating every choice like it defines your entire life. So of course you freeze. Anyone would. So lower the stakes. You're not choosing your whole life. You're choosing a season. You're not trapped, you're testing. And once you see it that way, something shifts. The pressure drops just enough for movement to become possible again. Here's the simplest way to understand it. You're not lost in a maze, you're in a garden. Every interest is a path. Some paths will grow, some will fade, and that's not failure. That's how it works. Your job isn't to find the perfect path before you start. That's the trap. Your job is to walk one path long enough to see what it can actually become. Because clarity doesn't come from thinking, it comes from movement. You don't need to figure out your entire life right now. That's too big for any brain to handle. You only need to notice what feels alive enough to try. That's it. Your many interests are not a flaw. They're the raw material of a mind that's built to connect ideas in ways most people can't. But potential without movement turns into frustration. So pick one path. Walk it. Not forever, just long enough. Carry the rest with you. Let them evolve instead of forcing them to compete. And over time, something unexpected happens. The path stops feeling random. It starts feeling like you. You're not late. You're not behind. You're just wide. And if you learn how to use that, it becomes your biggest advantage. Not something to fix, something to master.